At today's Home Design, you know we love projects.
That's right.
And today we're going to start a new one. It's a patio project.
Yep.
I'm very excited about this one. It is a young executive. She works all the time. Her space could use a little loving.
Yep, it's a little cramped, it's a little small, and after meeting with the clients, she decided she wanted more of a sanctuary. When she's done with work, she can have a nice glass of wine. So more for herself than a great big space for entertaining. She has a small dog, so he needs space to run. So we're going to take it, we're going to revamp it, we're going to make it better.
And also, the neighbors are really close in this spot. I mean, if you sneeze, the neighbor's going to say Gesundheit.
Right.
So we have to do something to see if we can give her a little privacy.
That's right. We're gonna give her privacy. We're gonna give her some color. We're gonna be working with some of our other sponsors, and it's gonna be a great job.
Let's go look at the space.
Okay.
Okay, John, this is the patio space.
Yes, it is.
What do you think?
Well, I think it's got a lot of possibilities, but at this point, it's cramped. The space is not well used. It's kind of all one color, and there's no life to it.
And you can tell it's a busy, as we've talked about, a busy woman's place. So we want to make it a little fun, friendly, and feisty for her.
Yes, definitely more sanctuary, as we talked about, instead of a big entertaining space. So we're going to bring some gorgeous plants in here. I would like to extend where the patio actually ends. I'd like to bring it over at least a foot. We need to keep that space for the dog to run. In this area here, I would love to get like a console table that we can put wine, cheese, whatever she might like. And what do you think of that?
Oh, what a great built-in little shelf for you.
It is. And then we're going to line the whole thing with candles.
Oh,
just
romantic.
Small, intimate votives, get that nice flicker of light. Yeah.
And what about the owner's artwork? I see they have a lot of Caruth pieces on the wall.
They do, which is fine. I mean, I'm never opposed to collections, but what we need to do again, and we're going to gather them, we're going to cluster them together so they create more focus.
Very nice. And we also have to keep in mind she has a little dog.
Right. Yes, we will.
So we'll make sure we leave some space for the little puppy.
Yes.
All right, and what about the scale of these? How do these work for you?
Remember, in smaller spaces, you need to keep the scale proportionate. The table's fine. It still needs to be serviceable, and the chairs are okay too. They need to be comfortable. So actually, the scale of this is okay. If she would have had a 48 or 68-inch round, it would have been way too big. But actually, the scale of this is okay.
Right, now what are we going to do with this? Because as we talked about, we really have intimate space with our neighbors here.
Right.
Not only on the first floor, but the second floor.
Yeah.
So what are we going to do to give her some privacy?
What I would like to do, Susan, is find an umbrella that offers shade in the daytime, and then also that can be angled, so we can kind of cut out the second floor's view to the patio as well.
Wouldn't it also be a sound barrier?
Definitely.
Great.
Yep.
All right, well, let's go look at some of the utilitarian spaces. All right, of course we have this very large grill.
The grill. And depending on how often they cook out, I would like to ask the client if maybe we could go into, they have round grills that fit into corners better. They're a little smaller, especially if it's just one or two people living at home. This big monster may not be necessary. So if we can, I'd like to downsize the grill.
All right, and what if they're attached to it or it's brand new? Because it really looks fairly new.
It does. We'll find a space for it.
Okay.
If they need it, we'll use it.
Okay, let's turn around. As you can tell, we have heating, air conditioning units.
Right.
Looks like dryer outlets. And then on this side, electrical downspouts.
Yeah,
what are we going to do to create a more welcoming environment?
Well, since we can't get rid of it, we're at least going to try and soften it. So what I would like to do is get some outside fabric, which they have. It's not your grandmother's crinkly vinyl tablecloth. It's a little softer, some great patterns. I would just like to take it, kind of swag it back, so at least when you're coming in and out, we're going to create two soft walls of fabric.
Really nice. And then what about this space? Coming out of the stairs, anything?
If we can get two nice containers, I'd like to plant them, get some blooming flowers.
As usual, I know it's going to be fabulous. I can't wait to see it. All right, John, let's take a moment and talk about not only the homeowner style, but budget.
Okay. Well, the homeowner does love color. A little more, very contemporary, very clean lines. Since this patio is in a condo association, we are limited as to what we can do with the fence. I would have loved to have painted it a nice green, a beautiful yellow. Since we have to leave it this brown, I'm thinking of going more in staying in the neutrals, bringing in touches of color, letting the beautiful greens kind of speak for themselves. Since she doesn't spend too much time out here, she has requested that we stay within $300 for the budget.
And can you do that?
Of course, of course.
You know what, I'm sure that you can. I'm amazed at the things that you're able to pull off. Now, we also have the Maumee Valley Growers Association as part of this project. So let's head off to Hoen's greenhouse and see what they have.
Okay.
Teresa, this is so pretty.
This is outdoor living space.
Is this new?
This is new, yes. It's just to give people the idea that there's so much that can be done to achieve outdoor living and enjoy your space that you have outside.
Well, show us what you have in mind for our patio.
Great. Hey, Susan, these were the bamboo I was talking about.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, fabulous plant. They're great. Again, they get 8 feet tall, 8 feet wide. Great specimen to grow in part shade, so to work for that space that we were talking about. Okay. Also, they're zone hardy to zone 4 to 8. Again, so I think they'll work perfect in the spot we were talking about.
All right, what zone are we?
We are zone 5.
What does that mean?
And that means that when you're looking and picking out plants, you need to make sure it says zone 5 or below for it to actually live through the winters in our area.
Now, how hard is this to take care of? Does it take a lot of water?
Pretty simple. When you initially plant it, you want to at least give it 1 to 2 inches per week, and it'd work and do great in the spot you put it.
So we're going to take these with us. What about the tree for the corner?
I'll show it to you. It's right over here.
Perfect.
Hey, Susan, this was a plant I was talking about. This is actually a chamiciferous fall cypress, and that corner that I was talking about, I think it would be just great in that corner.
Okay, now, you said it was an evergreen. Doesn't look like an evergreen.
It doesn't look like an evergreen, and that's what's really neat about these plants. There's so many neat, different varieties that lend to character and texture in the garden, and they're not your typical evergreen that people think.
And you said our zone was...
Zone 5.
And this will be okay
It would do fine in our area, yes.
And our homeowner is a busy executive woman, just her and her little dog. Does she a lot of...
Well, again, initially when you plant, you need to make sure you water new plantings. And again, with lack of rain, you want to make sure weekly you check them and give them a good drink until they become well established. You should be fine.
Now you have 3 here. How do we pick one?
How do you pick one? Myself, this has a little bit, I go for shape.
Okay.
And so this has a really cute shape all the way around. Again, it looked just fabulous in that corner.
All right, so we're taking this to our homeowners.
We're taking this one.
Normally when we think about planting in the shade, we think of spikes because they're easy, they're hardy. But Teresa, I bet you have some better ideas for us.
Yes, I'm not a traditional spike person anymore. There's so many other things that you can use. House plants, palms for shade gardening work great. Begonias bring a lot of punch of color. Again, they're continuous bloomers in the shade, which is fabulous in those spaces. So I think they'll work well. Impatiens and ferns, and there's so many other neat things now out there that we can utilize in shade areas.
All right, in our patio space, we do have a couple containers, and that's where we're going to get our punch of color. So all of these will grow in the shade?
They will, and they'll give you continuous color.
All right, so even this?
Even that. And this is, again, another foliage, oxalis. It's just great for shade container gardens as well as in the ground.
Oh, I hope we can plant this.
Yes.
Okay, so if you have your choice of planting in the shade, this or this, what would you choose? Teresa, thanks for the guided tour of the garden
You are
center.
welcome.
You know what? We learned so much, and I can't believe the beautiful things you picked for that space.
Well, thanks. I'm excited about seeing the transformation.
All right, next time we see you, we'll be at our patio. So tune in next week as we all get down and dirty planting our new plants.
Hey, Teresa, how's it going?
Good, good.
So what are you up to?
What am I up to? I'm finding some things that have a lot of color. Found a nice colored pot to add some color to the other side of the patio, and brought in some plants for shade, begonias.
Right.
Do great in shade with some vine for a little bit of foliage accent. Right. And then over on the other side of the patio, we have some great color in double impatiens that will bring a little bit of brightness to our wall of bamboo that's still kind of small.
Right, so we've done the planting. Now these are just some accents and flowering plants just to bring a little more color.
Yeah.
Great, that's going to be beautiful.
All right.
And I am getting
And
ready
what are you doing?
I'm going to get to work on the fabric.
All right.
Getting this hung up. I'm not quite sure how it's going to work out yet, but I know it's going to be great. The All right, well, I'm going to get ready to hang this fabric. I'm not quite sure how I'm going to do it, but I know it's going to look great.
All right.
I don't want to give away too much to our viewers, so you'll just have to tune in next week to see how we turned a kind of ordinary patio into a extraordinary patio with just a little bit of money. We're here in the middle of our patio makeover. After meeting with the client, we realized there were some condo association restrictions. So although I would have liked to have painted the porch a nice beautiful green, we do have to stick with the brown. And we have our little pooch here that is kind of taking the focus. This is his main running yard, so I was unable to extend the patio like I would have liked to. So there are some things that we would have liked to have done that we aren't going to be able to do, but it's still going to be amazing. We've also met with the client again, and she's really kind of a color gal. She loves reds, blues, pinks, yellows. So on this show, we make our customers happy. We satisfy our clients. So that's what we're doing. Originally I said I'd like to stay a little more neutral, but I get to go to my own patio, so this is going to be bursting with color. We've started bringing some things in. We went to Hoen's greenhouse, where we have put together a great plan. And we actually have Teresa from Hoen's greenhouse here. So Teresa, I'd just like to, first of all, thank you for coming and helping us with this.
My pleasure.
You've done a great job.
Thank you.
Easy to work with. Got a great line of merchandise. First, I'd like to talk about, I mentioned that I wanted bamboo.
Yes.
It's a beautiful, green, renewable resource. And I was imagining these big stands of bamboo. And why don't you tell us about what we got?
Well, again, we brought in some 1-2 gallon bamboo to stay within the budget. We had to go with a little bit smaller plant. Again, the bamboo grows at a rather quick rate. Again, when new planting, you need to plant it actually every plant it. You know, when you dig it twice the size of the root ball out, down, and mend the soil. We did that. And then you need to actually water it once to twice a day during the planting week, initially when you first plant it, just to make sure that it gets well established.
Okay. And bamboo fills in very quickly,
And it
correct?
fills in pretty quick. Again, we just put 2 plants in this area, and the spread is 8 foot. So with 2 plants, you'll get your footage in order to cover the fence.
And will that be by the end of this season or next growing
Probably
season?
not. Again, it matures as it matures, but you're not going to get your end result quickly, so you got to be patient.
Well, we know we have to do that with Mother Nature. So
Right.
again, we're keeping within our budget. So we didn't get the huge plants that we initially wanted, but they're going to fill in quick, and it's going to be amazing when it does.
Yep.
And I know you also were kind enough to move this euonymus plant
Yes, we
for us.
did, and it was fun.
I bet. Why don't you tell us a little about what's involved with that?
Again, this euonymus was actually in the spot where we're standing. It was somewhat of a job. Whenever you're transplanting any type of tree or shrub, you need to make sure that you dig twice the size of the perimeter, exact perimeter around and down, and make sure you get enough of the root ball so that you don't disturb that. But prior to that, you need to dig the place where you desire to put it, amend the soil. Again, when we did that, we added some sweet peat, really mixed it in, backfilled it to make it big enough to contain the root ball of the euonymus that we were putting in, and then just filled it in and watered it in thoroughly.
And when you say amend the soil, is that something that our general consumers will be able to say, I need to amend my soil? Is there a kit?
Most generally, yes, you need to, no matter what type of soil you have, regardless. If you have clay soil, the best thing to amend it with would be peat moss. And if you have a real sandy soil, topsoil is great for that. And then also add a little bit of peat moss as well.
And it's really not a hard job to move a plant. It's just a lot of work.
It is a lot of work, and that's why I had our son come along and dig.
Great. And you want to take a second and talk about just some of the blooming flowers that you brought in? I know sun versus shade is always an issue.
Yes, again, there's quite a bit of shade on this patio, and so we had to, we were a little bit restricted. Again, with some of the other colors that we're going to have going on back here, we kept it real simple. Brought some of the reds. Again, you mentioned that the client loves the bright colors of reds and purples, and so, you know, we brought some of that in. She liked blue, And so we just incorporated some of that.
Great. And we've got some pea gravel that we're going to use to make a little path here for her serving area. And then we had a great idea to do the pea gravel around the bamboo.
Yeah.
Since bamboo has a little more Asian influence, I just think it's going to look a little cleaner, a little sharper against the bamboo. And then we laid down some nice natural mulch, because again we didn't want anything too chemically enhanced, because we have our cute little pooch here. So we've got a lot of work to do. Let's get started.
All right.
All right, Pooch, what do you think? You want to go look? All right, so we're done.
All right.
We did it. I think it looks great. Unfortunately, our client is a little too shy to be on camera. She just left, but she loves it. She's very happy with the way it turns out. It's exactly what she was looking for. Okay. Colorful, warm. I think if we just want to go around and talk about what we did. So we moved the euonymus from that corner over there. And you're supposed to turn it.
Looks good. It filled that spot, gave a little bit of bright color, appearance of sunshine because of the yellow.
Yep.
Looks good.
We clustered her Caruth art on the wall, created a little more focus for it. We added some glass citronella lanterns to give some nice ambient light at night and help keep away bugs.
Added some greenery in the corner with a Chamaecyparis shrub that shouldn't get too big because of the lighting that's in this area.
And it'll look great. It'll stay green all winter. Yeah. We added some battery-operated paper lanterns, again, to add some color. I went up higher just to create a little more drama and a place for your eye to follow. And
we incorporated some ferns for greenery and a little bit of color with some begonias that were very adaptable to shade.
Yep, looks great. We added a console table to serve with a pea gravel trail leading up to it. And on the existing shelf, we just kind of cleaned it up and added some brightly colored votives, again, just to give that flicker at night. And
around the way where our wall with our bamboo, we added pea gravel to the base of that just to keep with the texture and a little bit of a different texture against the bamboo leaf, and added a colorful basket just to bring some color in this area as well. Bamboo will again hopefully reach half the size of the fence by the end of the summer months, but again, it looks good.
And ending at the fabric soft walls that will hide the electrical boxes, hide the grill, and kind of created that kind of yummy cabana look that I wanted. Ties all together, ties all the colors together. I think it looks great.
I think it does too.
Well, thank you so much, Teresa, for helping me out.
It was my pleasure.
Great, and I can't wait to see you guys next week on today's Home Design.
All right, we're going to do that. Here we go. Go. So you're mentioning the cabana and how you like it, and then go.
And finishing at we've got the cabana open on either side of the door. It's a great outside fabric. It hides kind of the multitudes of sins, the electrical box, it'll hide the grill, and plus it just creates that cabana look that I was going for, which I tied in also with the vinyl tablecloth and the umbrella, which they didn't have before.
Great.
Again, they've got the second floor neighbor, so this will add them a little more privacy besides the sun. So, Teresa, I would just like to take a second and thank you. It's been great working with you.
My pleasure.
Look forward to working with you again soon. And this is just an example of what under $500, a weekend with nothing to do, and a little imagination can do. So, thanks for joining us, and we look forward to seeing you next week on today's Home Design.